So, welcome everyone to our community practice and gathering in the spirit of Thanksgiving. So, those of us from the United States, we have a relationship with this holiday that is complicated, but I think for many of us, we see the Thanksgiving holiday as an opportunity to gather with loved ones and to express our gratitude for life's bounty. Originally, an opportunity to celebrate whatever the harvest yielded that particular year and to come together and support one another through love and companionship, but also through shared resources. And that's kind of the spirit of what we're going for today. But I'd like to take it even a step further to discuss a little bit about what is this spirit of Thanksgiving, and how can it become not just something that we pause to acknowledge maybe once a year, maybe once a day even, which would be delightful. How can it become embodied within us? How can we essentially become a living expression of gratitude? And that's what we'll be exploring a little bit more today, if you're willing, and why that might be helpful in terms of living a more beautiful, free, and fulfilling life individually, but also in terms of the impact that our individual life has on the lives of every other being. There's a sutra in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, which is a book that was officially written, although not received. It was received far earlier, but written and codified about 2,200 years ago. And in the second chapter of this book, Patanjali lays out some very worthwhile advice on how to maximize our experience of our humanity. And these recommendations are called the yamas and the niyamas. And of the niyamas, there are 5. And there's one in particular that I want to pull out and focus on, but then also connect it to another one that is sort of the umbrella of those 5 niyamas. So I'll try not to get too bogged down with Sanskrit terminology, but just enough for us to start to hone in on a particular flavor of experience that we can ideally bring into our practice tonight or today, this morning. So this niyama, this concept, is that of santosha. And santosha is often translated to simply mean contentment. And contentment is open to interpretation, and there is no one single English word that could stand a chance of actually defining a Sanskrit word because they are so rich and multi-layered and multi-dimensional. But we'll start with contentment. And this sutra tells us that from santosha, from contentment, more or less, comes unequaled happiness. Unequaled happiness. It goes on to say in one of the commentaries that we tend to lean into by another great philosopher, Vyasa, he adds that of all of the riches and the pleasures of the world, and all of the riches and the pleasures of heaven, none of them even come close to comparing to this particular happiness that arises when we cease to crave something outside of ourselves. It's this craving that often leads to our suffering, our feelings of scarcity or lack. That if we can find a way to recognize the bounty within ourselves as a human being and the bounty within the natural world that is readily available to all of us, that these cravings will fall away and in their place will arise this unequaled unsurpassed happiness. That to me is an idea that's worth exploring. And it sounds and feels very different than simply an intellectual list making of the things that have gone well in my life that I am grateful for. While that is also beautiful and powerful, so I don't mean to diminish it. But what this is asking us to do is to somehow attune our mind to a reality in which life is genuinely happening for our benefit. That everything in life is conspiring in our favor. That we are never the victim, we are always the recipient of grace. And that can be a lot to swallow, that life is happening for us and not to us, or even worse, against us. But it is this recognition that life is happening for us that prompts us to start to look at the events in our lives, the experiences, the impressions, the relationships, our personal history, as well as what is happening in the world around us, through a very different lens, through a lens of curiosity. How is it possible that this thing that has maybe caused a tremendous amount of suffering, how is that happening for my benefit? How is that evidence of life conspiring in my favor? So that's something that we'll sit with. And it's not my intention to tell you what to think or feel or believe. It is my intention to just give you some questions to ponder, and an opportunity to approach life with a little bit more curiosity, particularly if that curiosity might lead you to an experience of unequaled, unsurpassed happiness. So a little bit more of an exploration before we go into practice of this concept of embodied gratitude. First of all, what does it mean to be embodied? I think essentially what it means is that whatever it is that you have embodied lives and breathes in you. In essence, it is you, and you are simply a vehicle, an expression of it. So it's always in you and of you, and it informs everything that you think and everything that you say and everything that you do. So this embodied gratitude, and it's a gratitude again, not just for the things that are going well, but also a genuine gratitude for the things that aren't going well, the struggles that we've had in our lives, the challenges, the obstacles, the opportunities that we've had to learn and to grow and to heal and to expand our capacity to connect with one another, all of that. How can we seek to see grace in our everyday? So I mentioned that there was another niyama that plays a role in this embodied gratitude, and that is the fifth of the niyamas, Ishvara Pranidhana. This one can get a little bit sticky to talk about, and so I won't go into too much depth at the moment because it's a whole series of conversations that we can have, because it asks us to at least consider the possibility that there is an intelligence beyond our own, that there is some sort of universal energy that is inherently benevolent and intelligent, that is this force that is conspiring in our favor, that is doling up all of the obstacles, the opportunities, the hurdles, the highways, the challenges, and the joys, in order for us to fulfill our soul's desires and ultimately to reach this experience of true, ultimate freedom and everlasting fulfillment. So this concept of Ishvara Pranidhana is asking us to not only acknowledge that there is a benevolent, intelligent something or other that's bigger than us and is all of us together, combined, but to also surrender our entire life to that intelligent, benevolent energy or entity. And to acknowledge that there is some force that is guiding us, and not only guiding, but protecting and teaching us all that we need to learn along the way to get to that final destination of freedom and fulfillment. For me, anyhow, even just the possibility that there is some kind of very wise and very compassionate force that is walking alongside of me in life and making sense of the seemingly senseless helps me to more genuinely adopt a spirit of gratitude. And over the years, of which there have been many working with this stuff, it's become my new way of being, quite genuinely, to be able to pause and consider, how is this happening in my benefit? Why is this being presented in my life, either my personal life, or why is what's happening in the world right now happening, and how is it going to benefit us as a human species? How is this going to potentially propel the next stage of evolution, or whatever it might happen to be? And that opportunity to pause and to consider and to look through a lens of curiosity first, and gratitude second, has genuinely changed the way that I experience my life and this world. So there's an invitation for you as well. How do we get there? Because it's not as easy as just, okay, and starting tomorrow morning, I am going to be an embodiment of gratitude. And thus I will experience this unequaled, unparalleled, unsurpassed happiness from this day forward. It doesn't work quite that easily. It's simple, but it's not easy, as we've been saying a lot lately in our practice. It requires that we shift our relationship with our mind, and our mind is in large part comprised of all of the thoughts we've ever had, all of the impressions, all of the feelings that make up the very complex fabric of our life up to this point. And within that fabric are threads of great suffering and sorrow and grief and anger and fear and doubt and confusion, and a whole other host of things that are challenging and maybe difficult to resolve and pull into this potentially newly adopted worldview. So for that, we need practice. And we're encouraged to practice as regularly as we can, for as long as we can, and with a sense of devotion. And that devotion, another word for it is reverence. That can be this feeling of gratitude for even just the opportunity to be alive, and the opportunity to engage with practice. So what does our practice do for us? But an easier question to answer would be, what does it not do for us? Because it does so many things. And each element of practice kind of addresses a different part of our psyche. But the body is supposedly where we hold on to and we lock in these memories and these impressions from our past that cause us to maybe shift more toward survival mode, and hold on to our stories of pain and suffering. So in terms of practice, the body is a really good place to start. It gives us an opportunity to be present with our past in physical form and to very slowly start to reorient to that past and recreate our relationship with it in a way that will allow for greater joy and peace and clarity in our present, which will then allow for vast possibility in our future. So we start with the body in order to begin to address the past. We layer in a conscious engagement with the breath in order to work tangibly with the present moment. And then we culminate our practice in meditation, which gives us the opportunity to design, for lack of a better word, our ideal future, and a future that we then can be empowered to actually step into. So this is what we're doing today. And if this works out well for you, hopefully many more times in the future as well. One of the ways that we can work with some of our more lingering, clingy memories and thoughts and the beliefs that have spurred from them is through a practice that allows for us to call them forth, but not even necessarily consciously, even subconsciously, and direct them to an area in the body that energetically is very well equipped for helping us to process, to digest, to assimilate, and then move toward either elimination or integration. And so we have this opportunity through the asana practice to gather up whatever doesn't feel aligned with this idea of embodied gratitude, with contentment, with trust that there is something that is out there and working in our favor. All of it can come into the navel center, the belly, and we'll add a little bit of fire to that space. We'll wring it out, and that which no longer benefits us to hold on to, maybe the painful parts of the stories, the impressions, the memories, have an opportunity to be released while we glean the good stuff. We glean that which is nourishing and is going to foster future growth. So this is going to be our orientation to practice. Side note, for those of you who are going to be eating a big Thanksgiving dinner, it's also going to help you digest on a physical level. So you're welcome for that too. And then we'll rest a bit and give our bodies and minds an opportunity to just be. And I'll guide you through a little bit of relaxation. And then we'll come to a seat, and that's where the real magic gets to happen, with a bit of meditation. Okay, I think I've spoken enough. Do we feel ready to begin? Okay, me too, and I'm not as nervous anymore. We've got this. So go ahead and make your way to your mat, and if you know the posture Makarasana, I'll invite you to start there. And if you don't worry, I will demonstrate to make sure that we can all stay together. So Makarasana translates as crocodile pose. And we start out on our belly. I like to have the legs a little wider than hip distance, but it's really about where they're most comfortable. And then you can give your belly a bit of a stretch to start with. And then stack the forearms, one on top of the other. And then rest the weight of the head on the arms so that you're not needing to utilize any musculature to support the head. The emphasis here is on a soft, squishy contact between the belly and the earth. The lowest ribs will probably make contact as well. And those lower ribs are where the diaphragm lives when it's resting at the bottom of each exhale. And ideally, there's just enough weight in the contact between the belly and the earth to allow you to feel the movement of the diaphragm as it draws down away from those bottom ribs toward the pelvis with inhale, and then relaxes and releases back up toward the ribs with exhale. So give yourself a moment to just tune into that movement and allow it to be the most important thing. Drawing you into the here and now. We'll be here for about a minute more, and if possible, allow the breath to adopt a very balanced, smooth, steady flow, an equal exchange of inhale and exhale. Just about 30 seconds more, and see if you can minimize the effort now. Drawing awareness to the space of the belly, experiencing the breath, encouraging it to adopt a smooth, steady, balanced exchange with minimal effort. Good. Now, with the intention of maintaining that smooth, steady, equal exchange of breath with minimal effort, press up to the hands and knees. Take your time. Give yourself a moment on the hands and knees just to address whatever your body might want or need. We're all joining from different time zones and so have lived different numbers of hours a day. So you might want to meet your body where it is before asking it to go along with you. And then let's find center again and bring awareness back to the belly and just call to mind in the space of the belly a small but powerful flame. And each breath, each movement is going to be oriented toward that flame. Nice and simple. With the next inhale, we'll glide the collarbones and the sternum forward, lifting the crown of the head and tailbone. And with exhale, reverse, rounding the spine, drawing the belly up and in. Maybe a little more warmth in that flame as you tuck the chin. Cow and cat. Inhale, opening up, lifting crown and tail. Exhale, rounding the spine, drawing the belly up and in. Keep going about 4 more times. Feel free to match the movement to your own pace of breath rather than trying to match mine. Inhale creates a sense of expansion, and exhale, contraction with an emphasis in the belly. On the next inhale, come back to a neutral spine, still on the hands and knees. And on exhale, just start to take the pelvis around in a few little circles. Continue to marry your awareness to that flame in the belly. See if you can keep everything else relatively loose and effortless. When you're ready, switch directions. And then come back through to neutral. Bring the knees a little bit wider apart. We're going to make those circles a bit bigger now. So the hips can draw back toward the right heel and then across toward the left, up toward the left wrist, and around to the right. So again, choose a pace that serves you. Continue to be mindful of the breath. And fix your focus on that flame at the navel. When you're ready, switch directions. These circular motions are an opportunity to feel as though you are gathering up those thoughts, those ideas, memories, experiences, impressions, and drawing them in toward the center at the navel. No need to overthink, just an opportunity to consider. Go ahead and come back through to the center and find stillness again. From here, inhale, and on the exhale with the toes tucked, float the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Inhale and lower the knees back to the mat. Exhale, draw the hips back to child's pose. Inhale back to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes. Exhale to down dog. Inhale, lower the knees. Exhale, child's pose. 2 more times. Inhale, hands and knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, down dog. Awareness at the flame in the belly. Inhale, lower the knees. Exhale, child's pose. Once more, inhale, hands and knees. Exhale to down dog. Inhale, lower the knees. Exhale, child's pose. Once you find your way back to child's pose, linger for a few breaths. Awareness is still drawn to that flame in the belly. You may not actually see or sense a flame, but maybe there's a gathering warmth or a sense of presence. However it draws your attention is exactly right. On the next inhale, let's just walk the hands over to the left side of the mat. And on an exhale, draw the right hip back a bit. Create some extra space through the right side of the body. Again, a sense of gathering. Just enough effort, no more, no less. Inhale to bring the hands back through to the center. Exhale, melt down the middle for a moment and enjoy another breath. Inhale, walk the hands to the right side of the mat. And again with exhale, open up through the left side body. A sense of gathering, of drawing in. Inhale to bring the hands back through to the center. And again on exhale, melt right down the middle and enjoy another breath. From here, go ahead and sit back on the heels. Come upright with the torso. Inhale, extend the arms up alongside the ears. And on an exhale, keep hugging the thighs together. Keep the spine nice and long and just rotate the rib cage to the left. Let the arms melt down. Looking over the back shoulder. Inhale, lift the arms and come forward again. Exhale, reversing that. Easy twist to the right. And inhale back through to the center. Exhale, twist to the left. Maximum attention at the navel center, building a little more heat. Inhale, come back through to the center. And exhale, a simple twist to the right. The simplicity of the twist gives you the opportunity to refine your focus on that flame in the belly. Inhale, center. Exhale, just let the arms float down. Inhale, back to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes again. And exhale, return to downward facing dog. Once you get to down dog this time, if you want, go ahead and pedal the feet. Notice where there might be some stiffness in the body and see what you can do to address it. Stiffness, tension can be linked to habits of protection, habits of defense, keeping ourselves safe from a repeat of a past pain or injury, physical, mental, emotional. So as you seek to release some of that tension and stiffness, do so gently. It's there for a reason. On the next inhale, let's lift the heels, soften the knees, and look toward the hands. And on exhale, step lightly toward the top of the mat. Feet will be about mat width, or hip distance, pardon me, apart, roughly parallel to one another. A softening in the knees, and then we'll lift and lower a few times. So bend the knees as much as you want or need. Hands can either be on the ground, on the ankles, the shins, atop the knees, wherever they're helpful. Press down through both feet, and on inhale, let's lift about halfway. Create a little more length in the spine. And with exhale, lower back down, and again, draw a little bit of attention to the belly. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, back to the fold. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold, and stay for a few breaths. So again, feel free to bend the knees fairly generously. Let the arms and the head hang heavy. And with each exhale, just a little bit more presence in the belly. One more breath. So again, root down through the feet. Bring some strength into the legs, and on an inhale, rise to stand. Let the arms float up alongside the ears. And exhale, release the arms down by your sides. Give yourself a moment to pause and to consider, how much does gratitude inform and influence the way you experience life? Are you the hero of your own story, and perhaps others as well? Or do you currently identify more as the victim? On the next inhale, let's bend the knees deeply, sweep the arms forward to come up. And on exhale, a little twist to the left. The left arm will come down as the right hip hugs back. And again, a little fire in the belly. Inhale, sweep the left arm forward, both arms rise. And exhale, a simple twist to the right. Sweep the right arm down and back, hug the left hip back in space. Fire in the belly. Inhale, sweep forward. Exhale, left arm down and back, a little twist to the left. Really try to hug your right hip back in space. And inhale, draw the left arm forward. Once more, exhale and twist to the right. Inhale, sweep forward. Exhale, sink a bit more deeply into that chair pose, Utkatasana. Feel free to soften the shoulders, relax through the neck. If it's better for you, the arms can reach out in front. Just keep drawing the shoulder blades down. 3 more breaths. On inhale, feel a sense of gathering. And on exhale, delivering to the navel center. One more full breath. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach for the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, step back to plank position. Inhale to hinge forward. So rock forward on the toes, bring your shoulders towards your fingertips. Exhale, let's lower the knees first. Bend the elbows straight back. And on inhale, press back up again. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press up. Last time, exhale, lower. Stay here, press the tops of the feet down. Inhale, draw the heart through for a baby cobra. Shoulder blades down, elbows hugging in. Exhale, release, and bring your right cheek toward the ground. Inhale back to baby cobra. Exhale, release, left cheek to the ground. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, release, forehead to the ground. Inhale, rise back up to the hands and knees. Exhale to child's pose. Take a moment here, just breathe. Inhale back to the hands and knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the heels, soft knees, gaze forward. Exhale, step to the top. Inhale to lift halfway. Exhale, fold, and as you do, bend the right knee generously. Make sure you don't hyperextend the left knee, so keep a micro bend. Inhale, lift halfway, straightening the right leg. Exhale, bend the left knee generously and fold. We'll do that once more to each side. Inhale, lift halfway, both legs straight. Exhale, fold, bending the right knee. Inhale, lift halfway, both legs straight. Exhale, fold, bending the left knee. Inhale, lift halfway, both legs straight. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, both of them deeply, and rise to Utkatasana chair pose. Exhale, sink even further into the posture. Let the arms float down and back behind you. Interlace the fingers if that's available. Otherwise, maybe stack the palms on the sacrum, or hands can rest on the hips. Ideally, what we want to allow is for the shoulders to roll back, shoulder blades to pull down. If you have the fingers interlaced and that works in your body, try to bring the knuckles to the sacrum. Again, navel to spine. Lifting through the sternum and the collarbones, and maybe delicately lifting the chin. Gathering with inhale, and concentrating what has been gathered at the navel center with exhale. One more breath. Release wherever the arms are. Inhale, straighten the legs, rise, reach for the sky. And exhale, release the arms by your sides. Take a moment to pause and consider. Do I subscribe to a worldview that sees life as plentiful, bountiful, more than enough to go around? Or do I see life through the lens of scarcity? That we must compete with one another to meet our basic needs. Inhale, back to chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, soften the knees, and let's slide the left foot back for a crescent lunge. So the heel will stay off the mat for now. Both knees can bend. Gather some strength through the inner thighs and inhale, sweep the arms up as the torso rises. On the exhale, straighten both legs, pull the arms down, and draw the belly in for just a little bit of heat. Inhale, bend both knees. Exhale, straighten. A couple more times. Inhale, bend both knees. On the exhale, stay. Try to draw the tailbone down a bit, the belly in a bit, but not trying to contract or constrict, but instead bringing consciousness into the space of the belly to dial up that sense of presence, maybe heat. Inhale here. On exhale, rotate the rib cage to the right. Let the elbows softly bend. Inhale, back through to the center, arms up. Once more. Exhale, easy twist to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold over the front leg and step back to plank. Inhale to hinge forward. Exhale, lower to the mat. Knees can touch down first. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale to the hands and knees. Exhale, child's pose. Stay a moment and just breathe. Inhale, return to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back. Exhale, bend the knee and draw your thigh in towards your low belly. Inhale, extend the leg up and back. Exhale, roll forward a bit and draw the knee into the nose, fire in the belly. Inhale, extend the leg up and back. This time with exhale, step the left foot through, find that crescent lunge again. Both knees bent. Inhale, find strength through the inner thighs as you rise. Exhale, both legs straight, arms down by your sides. Good, a few more times. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. And exhale, straighten. Inhale, come right back into that bent kneed lunge. Exhale with a long spine, rotate the ribs to the left, soft elbows. Inhale back through the center. And exhale one more time into the twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold over the front leg and step the right leg up to meet the left, lifting halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, back into chair pose. Exhale, soften a little bit more deeply into this posture. And then inhale, straighten the legs, reach for the sky. Exhale, arms by your sides. Another moment just to pause and consider. Sometimes life is hard. Is it hard in order to help you get stronger? or in order to beat you down. Inhale back to Utkatasana chair pose. Exhale, soften into a fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, soft knees, slide the right foot back for warrior one this time. So the right heel will come to the ground. Left knee is bent. Inhale, rise. Good. On the exhale, stay here in your warrior for a moment. Let the arms come down. Maybe clasp the hands behind the back, or again, just stack the palms on the sacrum, hands on the hips, whatever is available. Try to wrap the triceps back, draw the shoulder blades down, hug the inner thighs toward one another for stability, and gently expand through the front of the rib cage. Inhale for a sense of gathering. Exhale, delivering to the navel. Maybe adding a bit of movement. Inhale here. Exhale with the option to fold forward. Inhale to rise up. Exhale to fold in. Inhale, rise up, gathering. Exhale, fold. Concentration at the navel. Inhale, rise up, release the arms, bring the arms up by the ears. Exhale, once more, a gentle twist to the left, soft arms. Extend out through the wrists and breathe for 3. Just enough effort. One more full breath. Inhale, sweep the left arm forward, both arms up. Exhale, release to plank. Inhale, hinge forward. Exhale, lower to the ground. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, child's pose. Stay and breathe. Inhale back to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. From down dog, on inhale, let's lift the right leg up and back. Exhale, hug the thigh in toward the belly. Inhale, extend the leg again. And exhale, knee to nose. Fire in the belly. Inhale, extend the leg. Exhale, lunge the right foot through. Roll the left heel down for warrior one. Find your stability. And inhale, rise. Exhale, release the arms. Maybe clasp the hands behind the back, or just rest them on the sternum, whatever works for you. Wrap the triceps back, draw the shoulder blades down, create expansion through the front side of the heart. With inhale, there's a sense of gathering. Exhale, concentration at the navel. Option to add some movement. Inhaling where you are. Exhaling to fold in. Inhaling to rise up. And exhaling again to fold in. Inhaling, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, release the arms, reach for the sky. Exhale, easy twist. Awareness at the belly. Ideally, a little bit of heat, sense of presence. And breathe for 3. Inhale, sweep that right arm forward, both arms up. Exhale, fold over the front leg. Step the left foot up to meet the right. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Utkatasana chair pose. Exhale, sink a bit more deeply. Root down through the feet. Inhale, rise, reach for the sky. Exhale, release the arms by the sides. Take a moment just to be. And to consider. Has anything good come from the most painful experiences in your life? Is it enough to hold on to that good? And find a way to release whatever pain is lingering. Can you even say thank you? Last time into Utkatasana chair pose. On exhale, you can bring the hands again to the sacrum, slide the left foot back, like you're coming into warrior one, but both legs relatively straight. Setting up for pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Inhale, find a little bit more length in the spine. And exhale, just hinge forward, maybe about halfway for now. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Feel free to keep the hands clasped or resting on the lower back, or bring the hands down either to blocks or to the ground. And take a moment just to be here and allow your awareness to become a bit more internalized. That front knee can bend as much as it wants or needs to. Hands can be on the ground, blocks, hips, maybe resting on your own shin or thigh. Allow the posture to feel supported in some way, even while it's challenging. And allow it to draw your awareness more deeply within. to lift up out of the posture. Put a bend in the right knee if there isn't one already. Bring the hands back to the lower back. Dig in through the right heel and inhale to rise up. On the exhale, keep the low body as it is, but relax the arms a moment. Inhale, let's sweep the arms up alongside the ears. Hug the inner thighs together. Exhale, rotate the rib cage to the right. One more little twist. Inhale, extend out through both wrists. Put a micro bend at least in the right knee. And on exhale, start to tip, bringing your left hand down. Maybe just to the thigh, maybe to the shin, maybe to a block, maybe to the ground. One variation is not better for the other than the other, pardon me. There's just the right one for you. Awareness at the navel. Gathering with inhale and concentrating with exhale. One more inhale here. On the exhale, release the floating arm. Soften over the front leg. And then make your way back to downward facing dog. Be in downward facing dog for a few breaths. Inhale and begin to walk your hands back to your feet. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, bend the knees deeply, rise through chair. And exhale, straighten the legs, Tadasana. Just be. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, let the arms come down. Slide the left leg out in front of you. Square the hips more or less. Press down evenly through both feet. Hands are going to come behind the back again. Inhale, find a little bit more lift and length. And on exhale, begin to hinge forward. Put at least a baby bend into the left knee. Inhale to rise up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. This time as we fold on exhale, the hands can stay where they are or they can release down, maybe supporting yourself with your hands on your left thigh, shin or ankle, maybe onto blocks, maybe the ground. Let the posture in some way be supportive of a more internalized experience, drawing awareness within. Preparing to rise, bend that left knee, press into the left heel, hands to your hips or lower back. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, just be here a moment. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, twist the torso, rib cage to the left. Let the arms come out to the sides. Start to hinge, reaching out through the right arm. Letting that hand come either to the thigh, maybe to the shin, a block, or the ground. Concentration at the navel center. Gathering on inhale. Concentrating with each exhale. One more inhale. Exhale, release the hand. Once again, step back to downward facing dog. And be here for a few breaths. Inhale to lower the knees. Exhale to child's pose. Any variation of child's pose that allows for a sense of softening, quieting, maybe even a touch of surrender. With the next inhale, find an easy seat. Maybe that's just sitting up on your heels. If it's better, maybe on a bolster or cross-legged. just long enough to be with minimal effort. If you were to come to realize that all that you want and need truly already lies within you, and abundantly within the natural world, how might that impact your relationship with other beings? From here, let's go ahead and take a seat and bring the legs out in front of us. We're going to bend the left knee and stretch the right leg out straight, or relatively so. Preparing for Janushirshasana. It's another internalizing opportunity. Hands can just rest on the knees if you'd like. Inhale to find a little bit more space in the spine. And on exhale, begin to hinge forward. The hands are going to be wherever they're helpful. Inhale, find a little bit more lift and length. And exhale again, hinge forward. So rising and falling with the breath a few more times, easing into the posture. And then settle into a variation of the posture that is sustainable for you, that feels supportive, that allows you to loosen the tension caused by over-efforting. To be a bit more internally oriented, aware of the breath, and aware of that little fire in the belly. One more full breath here. On the next inhale, rise. Hands can rest on the knees again. Exhale, just be here. Have you ever experienced beauty in a most unexpected place? From here, go ahead and bend the right knee. If you want, you can extend your left leg straight, particularly if you have any constraints with your knees. Just preparing for one more simple twist here. Inhale to find a bit more lift and length in the spine. And exhale, rotate the rib cage to the right. The right hand can come down behind you, giving yourself a little extra support, steadiness. Awareness is in the belly again. Inhale, and we are gathering. Exhale, concentrating what has been gathered at that fire in the belly. Mindful of the tension caused by over-efforting. Back off just a bit. Let the intensity of the posture be experienced specifically at the navel center. On the next inhale, release the twist. And on exhale, just hang out here for a second. Then switch legs. Extend the left leg out in front of you. Bend the right knee. Inhale, find a little more lift in the spine. And exhale, begin to hinge forward. Lifting and lowering a few more times. Place the hands where they're helpful. And soften into a sustainable variation of the posture, one that is supported, comfortably challenging, that allows you to be aware of the breath and that fire in the belly. One more breath. Inhale to rise up, place the hands on the knees. Exhale, just soften and be. And another twist. Bending the left knee, Right leg can either tuck in or go closer to straight, whichever works best with your joints and bones. Inhale to find a little bit more lift in the spine. And exhale, rotate the rib cage to the left. Left hand can come behind you for support. With each inhale, a sense of gathering, reaching into all of the little nooks and crannies. And with exhale, drawing what was found into that fire at the belly. One more breath. On the next inhale, gently release the twist. And on exhale again, an opportunity just to be here. Extend both legs out in front. Just give your legs a little bit of a shake. Maybe flop the feet in and out a couple of times. Now we finally get to lie down. So bend the knees, scooch forward. Maybe drape the arms across the shins and find one last lift through the spine. And then roll yourself down. Once you're lying on the ground, take a moment to adjust to this unique relationship to gravity. Feel the support that the earth is providing the body. And feel the way in which gravity is protecting you by holding you close to the earth. Keeping you safe, keeping you from floating away. Let's release any lingering bits of tension in the back. Press down through both feet, arms alongside the body. On an inhale, float the hips up, let the arms extend alongside the ears. And on exhale, roll everything back down again. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale to lift the pelvis and extend the arms. Exhale, roll back down. Two more at your own pace. Rest and relax again. preparing for a twist. Any twist that you prefer, you're more than welcome to utilize. If you're not sure which way to go, maybe bring the arms out to the side like cactus or goalpost arms. Lift the feet off the ground. Create a little bit more length through your lower back, but scoot your hips 2 or 3 centimeters to the right. Enjoy an inhale here. And on an exhale, roll the knees down to the left. Inhale, lift them back up through to the center. And exhale, again, back down to the left. Once more, inhale, lifting them back up to the center. And exhale, again, lower them to the left. This time they get to stay. So maybe setting the knees on a bolster or block in between them. Feel free to adjust the shoulder, the neck. If possible, place the palm of your left hand on your belly and the palm of your right hand on your lower back. And then breathe into the space between those hands. And hopefully sense a little bit of heat, a little bit of presence. Remove the hands so you can use the arms for support again. Inhale, lift the knees back up through the center. On an exhale, let the feet touch down and move the pelvis back into a neutral alignment. And then give yourself a moment to just be. Shift the pelvis 2 to 3 centimeters to the left. Lift the feet, lengthen the spine. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lower the knees to the right. Inhale, lift them back up through the center. Exhale again, lower them to the right. Once more, inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. They get to rest here now. Make sure you're supported. Adjust however you want or need. Place the palm of the right hand on the belly, palm of the left hand on the lower back, and breathe into the space between. Preparing to come out of that twist. Release the arms so they can be helpful again. Inhale, lift the knees. Exhale, set the feet down, shift the pelvis back into a neutral alignment. And give yourself a moment just to be. Final posture, Apanasana. Hugging the thighs in. If it feels good to you, maybe also lift the head and shoulders. Tuck the chin toward the chest, the forehead toward the knees. Enjoy 3 more breaths here. and then release to Shavasana. Give yourself whatever comfort you require. And then a little more. Something soft to lie on, something warm to drape over your body. Get as cozy as you can possibly be. Take the time to wiggle, fidget, adjust, settle in. Let the eyes close. Once again, feel the support of the earth and gravity like a heavy blanket holding you close to its surface. Give in to that support. Accept it. Acknowledge that you are being held, and perhaps allow yourself to enjoy it. Bring awareness to the space of the belly and that small but powerful flame. There's no need to see a flame, to feel fire, or even to sense a presence. Just a willingness to allow for the possibility. Allow for the possibility that this fire is drawing every thought, every impression, every little bit of information that has been received through the five senses since the very moment you entered this world, up until this moment, here and now. All are attracted to this flame. And as we continue to release any habits of holding or tension in the body, what is released is also drawn into the flame. No need to concern the mind with what happens in that fire for now. Just a release into it. Softening any tension or holding in and around the space of the head. Especially the forehead and eyebrows and eyes. The cheeks and the jaw. The nostrils and the mouth. A release of tension through the tongue and throat. Along the collarbones and shoulders. Upper arms and elbows. Lower arms, wrists, hands, and fingers. A release of tension through the muscles of the chest. As well as the upper back and the back of the heart. A release of tension through the middle back and lower back. Side bodies and belly. Release of tension through the pelvis and hips. Upper legs and knees. Lower legs, ankles, feet. Toes. A release of tension through the whole body. The whole body softens. And what is released from those habitual holdings throughout the body is drawn to the navel center. Drawn to the flame. Nine more breaths. With each exhale, more and more of those impressions, thoughts, ideas, memories, beliefs are drawn to the fire. And without overthinking, for the next minute or so, any of those thoughts, ideas, impressions, memories, or beliefs, that are particularly heavy to hold. That seem to contribute to an ongoing experience of suffering, that keep you stuck somehow in the loop of reactivity. That lead to a sense of powerlessness, hopelessness, victimhood. Just for the next minute, consciously send those to the flame. Turn your attention now to the flame itself and the power this flame has, not simply to burn, to destroy, but rather to transform. To take a memory, an impression, a belief, to burn it down, to melt it down, to refine it to its distinct parts. The waste matter, the ongoing suffering, extracted and released. And then the wisdom, the heart softening, the compassion, embraced and integrated. A little bit of gratitude embodied. Gently holding awareness at the navel. Another minute or so to allow for this alchemy. Awareness still held at the belly. Invite the physical component of the breath to gradually grow full once again. And perhaps continue to sense a lingering warmth in the belly, while the hot flames have subsided. Savor that warmth and invite it to spread throughout the body into the fingers and toes, hands and feet. Enjoy a stretch. And when you're ready, bend the knees, roll to one side, and curl into a fetal position for another 2 or 3 breaths. Gently rise to a comfortable seat. We'll only be here for a few minutes. The seat might be on the ground, it might be on a bolster or a pillow, it might be on a chair, like me. Something that allows for steadiness in body, breath, and mind, as well as ease. Draw awareness once again to the space of the belly. And shifting awareness from the navel center down to the perineum or base of the spine with inhale. With exhale, sense a release down and out through the root. Inhale from the navel down to the perineum. Exhale, release down and out. Three more times. Two more. Disposing of the waste matter from that which was transformed. And bring awareness back to the belly now. Gathering up the gems that remain as the result of that process of alchemy. With inhale, bring that up to the crown of the head. And exhale down to perineum. Without pause in the breath, inhale once again up to the crown. And exhale again down to perineum. Enjoy a few more of these oscillations through the space of the body. And experience them as an opportunity for integration. That wisdom, that compassion, the gems gleaned from your experiences in life, becoming embodied gratitude. Inhale once again to the crown of the head. And exhale down and out through the nostrils. Enjoy a few breaths with awareness in the nostrils. Drawing attention back to the outside world. Maybe bring the hands together at the heart. Bow the head. And consider expressing gratitude internally for something you may have never expected to feel grateful for. Maybe not grateful for the event itself, but for what it taught you or how it shaped you into the wiser and more compassionate person that you have become. Rub the palms together if you'd like. Generate a little bit more of that warmth. And then place the palms over the eyes, maybe the heart or the belly, and enjoy another breath or two. Eyes can blink open when you're ready. And then take your time coming back out to the external world.